Standardization Organization, which if you're not asleep now would be a good time to go to sleep. The ISO, you may be familiar, particularly if you travel abroad and you see businesses that say ISO certified 2714, and all you know is that that's better than 2707, but you really don't know what that is. That's the international organization that works with the national organizations to develop standards for everything from bicycles to bike helmets to whatever. So when you buy a bike helmet and it says ANSI certified, that's the American National Standards Institute. They represent the United States at the ISO. The ISO has taken up the thankless task of developing rules for private maritime security. But again, it's an international organization, so they have produced guidelines which are available as of a month ago. But those guidelines tend to really beg the question or raise more questions than they answer. So there are guidelines that do provide some sort of inclination on what direction we ought to go to with regard to carriage of firearms and the use of force. First, with the carriage of firearms, the guidelines say that the carriage of firearms ought to be in accord with the home state of the private security company, as well as the flag state of the ship that they are going to be riding on. And there's not necessarily coherence in either of these two sets of laws. And so countries are scrambling to develop relationships between the flag states and the private maritime security companies to try to harmonize those laws. Then it also says that when you carry armaments on board a ship, that they ought to comply and have written authority from the flag state, and then, where appropriate, the coastal state. And of course, that begs the question, when is it appropriate? Because under the law of the Sea Convention, we know that Article 19 affords all ships the right of innocent passage in the territorial sea. So as you converge traffic, you get into the territorial sea, which is out to 12 nautical miles from the shoreline. A nautical mile is slightly longer than a statute mile. So anytime that you converge in an area that's less than 24 nautical miles wide, such as the Strait of Hormuz or along the coast of Somalia as you enter the Gulf of Aden and the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, then you encounter the difficulty of having not just two states involved, the home state of the security